Everybody, we're talking about vagal nerve stimulators for health. What are they? What do they do? What health conditions they're for? And finally, we're going to wrap up with vagal nerve solution devices and things to consider when purchasing vagal nerve devices. So this is a huge new topic that's coming out in health, is the use of these vagal nerve stimulators. And it's really exciting because we do see so many people that get stuck in that fight or flight of chronic disease. And that fight or flight, the body is in that survival mechanism. So we're pumping out adrenaline, we're pumping out cortisol, right? We're in that fight or flight scenario. Well, when we're in this scenario, we are in survival mode. So our body is not functioning in a way of healing, right? The nervous system, when we're in fight or flight, is about surviving. It's not about heal and repair. It's not the signals we're sending. So from a standpoint of our vagal nerve, which is a huge part of our nervous system that runs the rest, digest, heal part of our nervous system, the vagal nerve stimulators have a lot of potential for helping in these chronic disease scenarios. So if you haven't been to my channel before, I'm Dr. Diane Mueller of mylymedoc.com. That's Lyme like the disease, not the fruit, Lyme. So mylymedoc.com. And this is what we're talking about. So that's what vagal nerve stimulators are. Vagal nerve stimulators are these devices that you can get sometimes with a prescription, sometimes you can buy direct to consumer, and they are essentially stimulating the vagal nerve. That's the definition. Now, diseases that this can be good for. So I actually believe that there's many different diseases beyond what's been studied so far that this is going to be good for, because we see that, like I said, that when we get the body out of that fight or flight, when we get the body into the rest and digest, the body starts sending those signals to heal. Diseases that this has been studied for, however, include inflammatory diseases such as autoimmune disease. So Crohn's has been studied, rheumatoid arthritis has been studied, a little bit on MS. So really looking at some of those inflammatory scenarios and those autoimmune diseases. Depression's been studied. There's early studies that are kind of hinting at that this vagal nerve stimulator can even help with pain or even cognitive decline or cognitive dysfunction. And the last video I released, it was all about brain fog and about people that have brain fog. Well, this vagal nerve stimulator could potentially be a supportive treatment for something like brain fog. If you've not listened to that, go back and listen to that lecture. Make sure you do subscribe to my channel so you don't miss other important information like that. So now we're going to talk about the mechanism. So the main mechanism that has been researched by stimulating the vagal nerve is by lowering inflammation. So remember, also in my brain fog video, I talked about getting out of this scenario where inflammation's the true root cause, right? So remember, if the body's inflamed from something like a toxic metal or a parasite or whatnot, that we want to get rid of that metal. We want to get rid of the parasite. We don't want to just go after the inflammation. Now, when we're going after the inflammation and we're actually going after the root cause, sometimes it can be very helpful to help the body feel better faster. And that's what I believe the vagal nerve devices have potential to do, is help heal the body faster by getting the body into that healing nervous system state. But I'm also a big fan of Band-Aids, right? We do want to get to the root, but while we're getting to the root cause and while we're finding the right test and the right treatment that work for you, these things can take time. And feeling a level of better as fast as possible is so relieving, right? So if we have to do things like giving Band-Aids or giving things that lower inflammation to help serve as that Band-Aid, while we get to the root cause, I'm a big fan of that. So we do see that the lowering inflammation by stimulating the vagal nerve, we get a reduction in inflammation, and that's why a lot of these symptoms can improve. But I do say that because we do want to make sure that while we're doing that, remember, get to the root cause. Go back and listen to my brain fog video from last week, because I do go through a lot of root causes that are very important. So now we're going to talk about solutions. So when we're talking about solutions, it really is going to depend upon what you're looking for. So some of these devices are more FDA-approved medical devices, others are not. Some need prescriptions, some you can do at home. right? And I do see people buy over-the-counter ones and report feeling better. So I do think there's evidence of that. Now, the other thing to consider is the placement. So some of these nerve stimulators will go to the tragus, which is this part of the ear that kind of sticks out. And so it can stimulate the vagal nerve there. Others will go on to the neck. So that's another thing in considering these, is depending upon where your vagal nerve is stimulated, might make a difference with the results, right? This is an unknown. I think more data is needed here around like, okay, is it more effective one area versus another? But I'm telling you that because when you're looking at these devices, that's one of the things to look out for, is where is the vagal nerve being stimulated? And what you might want to try is getting a device, make sure they have a return policy. And if you try something like the ear, for example, and you're like, it's not really working for me, then I would not completely rule it out, but maybe then return it and try one that is going to stimulate more through the skin of the neck and see. So, like I said, I do think more information is needed on this, but some of the research is extremely exciting as far as potentially really helping people and lowering the inflammation, and to do it in a way that is not like a pharmaceutical or even a supplement, something you don't have to take, and just really help your body get into that healing state. But again, we still want to get to that root cause of the inflammation. So if we have a parasite, for example, causing the inflammation, vagal nerve stimulator is probably not going to kill that parasite, right? It might lower the inflammation to help you tolerate it less or tolerate it more, having less symptoms, but you're still ultimately going to want to get rid of that parasite. So I would look at this not as a standalone treatment, but as a treatment that can be considered and combined with other things to help get you better results. Okay, everybody, please keep your questions, your comments coming. I love hearing them. Let me know what kind of videos and what information you want me to make. And I will see you in another video real soon. Please do make sure you subscribe too. Like I said, I want to make sure, like last week we did brain fog. We're going to continue on with other things about the nervous system, brain health from here. So just make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos as they come through. I want to make sure you have all of this content. All right, we'll talk to you real soon.